Are you tired of feeling stuck in the same old negative money patterns and habits? Well, it is time for a change. In this video, we're going to be revealing the 5 negative money habits that you need to let go of so that you can thrive with your finances in 2024. And by the end of the video, you'll walk away with actionable strategies for changing those negative money patterns for the better.
Hey wealth builders, welcome back to another episode of The Bemused. My name is Mishak.
And I'm Akiva. I'm a certified financial planner and money coach for young professionals in their 20s and 30s. Now, these habits that we're going to share with you in this video, this is not here to be a judgment video or to talk down or be condescending on anybody. These are habits that we sometimes fall victim to ourselves. So let's all learn and move forward in freedom together. So the first negative money pattern that we want to absolutely break in 2024 is the comparison trap, y'all. Yes. We find ourselves doing this all the time, comparing our journey and our financial walk or status or perceived status to that of other people.
Yeah, and there's so many reasons why this is dangerous. Number one, and probably the most obvious, is you don't know what the next person is doing to get where they are, right? So it might appear nice from the outside that this person is living the life that you want. You know, they're traveling or they're able to buy the car of your dream, whatever it might be, but don't necessarily compare yourself to other people. Be confident where you are. And also be, I would say, content with where you are, because more than likely it's just a phase. It's where you are at this moment. And if you desire to, have that car in the future or to be able to take those trips, all you need to do is just buckle down and try and figure out a way to make that happen in a way that makes sense for you.
Yeah, you have no idea what that person is doing to do what they're doing. They could be in a worse financial position than you, for all you know, and they are just swiping up on credit cards or doing whatever they're doing, or somebody's financing that luxury lifestyle for them. And also, some people, let's be honest, some people just be lying for the internet. Okay, we know that. Some people do that. So in 2024, let's stop trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? And let's just focus on our own journey, on our own path. Because I feel like that just leads to a life of more fulfillment, more contentment, less stress, and it's just a healthy perception.
And this is one that I think that I should say me, fall into sometimes. I'm like, man, why hasn't this happened? Or why hasn't that happened? And it's people like us who are people of faith, where it's like, hey, if it's for you, it's for you, and just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it's not for you. It just means that right now it's not for you. And there could be a real good reason for that. So again, just putting that into perspective, it sometimes helps with that. You know what? Blessings to you. Happy that you are where you are. But again, I'm comfortable where I am, and if it's for me, hopefully it'll come at some point.
And the funny part about it too is that half the time we so focus on what other people are doing, and other people are probably looking at us thinking the same thing. So we're all on our different journeys and paths. Just embrace it.
Number 2, acting on impulse.
Yeah, this can be impulse spending, impulse saving, impulse giving, right? We are all human. And we all have these different habits and attitudes that we are just built with, right? That are ingrained in us, whether we realize it consciously or not. And this is one of the big things that we actually cover in our money coaching program, and things that people really have earth-shattering breakthroughs around when it really comes to the conscious mind of, this is really how I am, and this is why I am how I am. And so our impulses are all different. Some of us are impulse spenders, like I said. Maybe you're one of them. I am not an impulse spender at all, but I am an impulse saver, I would say, which sounds like a good thing, but honestly can be kind of toxic. I'm not even gonna lie, right? I become the Scrooge sometimes if I'm not too careful with myself. I just want to hold on to every single dollar that passes through my hand, and that ain't healthy either.
And I'm glad that you brought up the giver piece, because that's usually not something that we think about, right? We think of giving as such a good thing, which it is a good thing, But if you have 10 and you're giving away all 10, that ain't good for you. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, okay, are you going to give so much that you have nothing left? That can also be a not so great thing depending on the situation that you're in. So be mindful of whichever camp you might fall into, and definitely come up with some strategies, to try and correct that so that you are a little bit more balanced across the board.
Yeah, that's really the goal, is becoming conscious of it and creating balance. Like, that's one of my favorite things to work through with clients and all of personal finance, because it can really unlock so many subconscious doors that you didn't even know were close to you and really help you move forward with your finances. So getting that awareness around your impulses, being aware of them and knowing that they're there, so that in the future, instead of acting on impulse, we can think through decisions more rationally and come to a decision that makes sense for us. Not necessarily in the moment, right? We don't make those in the moment, spur of the moment decisions, but after we've taken some time to truly think about it and think about all of the factors involved. The third negative money pattern we want to break in 2024 is ignoring budgeting. All right, don't be mad at me. I know budgeting is the big bad B word around here, but it is a crucial component of actually thriving with your finances. A lot of people like to hate on budgeting, right? And some people even make the argument with, budgeting honestly isn't my problem. The problem is I just don't make enough money. I've heard all of these things, right? I can't budget my way to, a higher net worth, or I can't, whatever, because I just simply don't make any, money, or as much money as I need to live and to survive. And if you are in that camp, I'm not saying this to dismiss you. I'm here to empathize with you, because that can be true. Yeah. But for the vast majority of people, regardless of if we have 2 nickels to rub together or $1 million, budgeting is still important. Creating that intentional plan, that's all a budget is. Yeah. Creating an intentional plan for what you're going to do with your money. By the way, we talk about that whole "if only I made enough money" concept in our webinar. So I'm going to plug the webinar real quick, because if that's you, you're going to really enjoy that. It's a webinar called Wealth Unlocked: How to Go from Struggling to Striving with Your Money Without a 6-Figure Salary in Your 20s and 30s. I know it's a super long title, but that's what it's really about. It's basically sharing our story of how we grew our net worth by 6 figures, $180,000 in 3 years without making 6-figure salaries, right? And so kind of debunking that myth a little bit and showing you how you can do this in a practical way based on our own experience and my professional experience as well. But anyway.
And thinking about your budget as not just like this thing that is restrictive, I would say it's something that helps you get more focused on what is actually important to you and your life. So if in your budget, that important thing is travel, hey, I don't mind if I'm eating ramen. I don't mind if I am putting $5 of gas, because that's going to get me to and from work every day. If that's what you choose to do, that's fine. If you're gonna, prioritize travel in your budget, or if you're prioritizing eating out, or if you're prioritizing maybe getting a new vehicle or moving into a new apartment or house, whatever it is, that's fine. But your budget is gonna help you determine, okay, let me cut away some of the fluff. And, of course you can't cut away everything. You need a roof over your head.
And
you gotta pay utilities.
No fluff, and that's okay.
And sometimes there is no fluff. Yeah. But again, that's another conversation on like what do you do from that point on. So definitely replugging that webinar, because I think that'll be really helpful. But you definitely want to make sure that you're framing things in a way that is personalized to you, not looking at what your cousin's doing, what your brother's doing, what your mama's doing. It's personalized for you. And I can say that my budget is very different than my mama's budget. And that's okay, because we're different people, and that's how it's supposed to be. It's something that's tailored and personalized to you.
But the goal of budgeting is intentionality. That's what we are seeking at the end of the day. You being in the driver's seat, it's you saying you're going to have control over your finances instead of being controlled by them. And that's what a budget allows you to do.
Yeah, anything that's not tracked cannot be managed. Number 4, procrastination. And this could be saving, investing, anything that you're supposed to be doing, but you're not. How you're going to stop doing that in 2024, that's really what this one is all about.
Yes, we all fall victim. I can't say all. Some of us are go-getters. As soon as I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. There will never be procrastination. God bless you. I ain't one of those people. For the rest of the 99.9% of us, right? We can often fall victim to procrastination in many areas of our life, finances included. And so in 2024, let's work on removing the shackles of procrastination. If the same thing you've been talking about that's been on your money goals list for the past 5 years is still on that list, those New Year's resolution lists that we all love to make, let's actually find a different way, right? Let's find, if we haven't achieved it yet, we gotta find a different path to make sure we're actually going to be able to achieve it this year. And that can vary from person to person, what those action steps actually look like for you, right? Maybe, for example, you've had on your list for a while to start saving money. Maybe the issue with why you haven't actually saved money is because the goal is the issue, right? Setting those smart goals, setting goals that are actually going to be attainable, realistic, actually creating a plan instead of just a wish, because that's really what a goal without a plan is. It's just a wish. So the problem could be the goal itself, right? Maybe the action step for you is, let me take another look at these goals that I've set and actually make sure that they are SMART goals, right? They are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. The next issue when it comes to procrastination could be that there is something going on psychologically, mentally, in the background, again, that's affecting our ability to hit those goals or to take the steps that we know we need to take and we have full capacity financially to take, but we just don't, right? And that's where, again, going back to the whole money mindset thing and understanding our relationship with money and what's really going on mentally can really be the key to unlocking that for you. So checking your actual goals and then also doing that deep dive into yourself, that introspective work to figure out, what is it really? I have the money, I have the cash flow, I have whatever else is physically needed to achieve this, to take this next step. Why am I not doing it? We can't really get to solutions until we understand the why behind the what.
Yeah, and it might not necessarily be, again, like the psychological things that you might be thinking about. Like, you are a product of the environment that you also, you grow up in, where it might be that your parents might not have had the best relationship with money. That's what you saw, and maybe it might be a little bit more of a challenge for you to break some of those chains that you might be struggling with. Like she said, you make enough money, it's like it's not even making sense to you. Why am I living paycheck to paycheck? That could be why. Or it could be something completely different. But, either way, you want to take that deep dive and do self-reflection and figure out, well, what is it? And seek help when necessary, whether it is, mentally or financially or, both of the two.
The fifth and final negative money pattern that we want to break in 2024 is avoiding financial education. Now, of course, if you are watching this video, you are probably not one of these people, because you are probably seeking out financial education through means just like this. However, it is something that is very, very important. It's something that we should encourage our friends and others to take advantage of. I will also acknowledge a common thread or thought that I have seen floating around too is that, well, financial education isn't the key to everything. Like, we cannot educate ourselves out of a low salary. We cannot educate ourselves out of certain situations. And I want to acknowledge that and say that, yes, that might be true for some people, but that isn't a reason to neglect it, right? It is still a critical component, because if and when that situation changes, right? Maybe you've gotten yourself out of the rut that you were in, or you are now making, have a new job, or you're making more money, whatever the situation might be, you're in a different space now. It's like, then what, right? If you've neglected financial education all this time, then you don't even know what to do when you are in a better spot or in a position to get yourself into a better spot. So in 2024, we do not want to avoid or neglect financial education. It is a very important piece of the puzzle.
And what I was gonna say would probably be a bash to financial planners in that industry.
Go ahead.
And that's not my intention.
Boo.
But I would say someone who's in that category of like, oh, I don't need to know anything. That's what, when I'm making the money, that's what my financial planner is for, then you're going to be paying for help until the day you die.
That's a fact.
Because they are going to do what is necessary to keep you afloat, but they're not necessarily going, they can't tell you what to do. They can recommend, hey, stop spending money or, on that, or stop spending so much of it. But it's your money. You can do what you want to do. And they're also not magicians. They can do but so much with what they have. If you're spending more than what you're earning, at some point, even if they're investing great for you and doing all of those things, the money will run out at some point. So the education is important so that you have an understanding of, okay, these are the things that I need to do in order to be here, or in order to maintain this, as opposed to, I'm just going to rely on somebody else to do everything for me. That usually never goes well.
Yes. And a word of caution, even when you are seeking financial education, especially on the interwebs, okay? Like I said, even from us, we've said this before and we'll say this again. Trust but verify, okay? Not everybody who's got a large platform or who's the loudest duck or quacks the loudest actually knows what they're talking about. And even if they do know what they're talking about, not necessarily everything that they're sharing is going to be applicable for you, right? This is general information for general audiences. It is not meant to be specific advice. And so if you are taking what somebody is saying and using that alone as your sole data point for all of your financial decisions, that can be a very scary place to be and a very slippery slope. So you always want to trust but verify. If you hear something from an influencer, a creator, an educator, whomever, verify that. Fact check that with relevant sources, right? To make sure that you are getting sound information, and also just to make sure that that is something that actually applies to you, right? The information that is shared for somebody who is a 20-year-old college graduate is going to be very different from the information that is most appropriate and shared for a 65-year-old pre-retiree, right? It's just very different. And so you want to keep that in mind when you are seeking financial education, is seeking from credible sources. Of course, experience, education, all that stuff matters. People who are actually experts in the field, and not just people who are influencers but don't have any real credible experience in the field. Doesn't mean they don't know what they're saying, but again, you have to verify everything, regardless of if they got letters behind their name or not. That's really the point that I'm trying to make. Myself included, right? And ourselves included. Trust, but verify.
We want to hear from you. Which one of these do you relate to most and want to break in 2024? Tell us down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!